Hey my loves, and welcome to part 2 of the mental mastery module. So in the previous video we talked a lot about mental maintenance, how to really maintain the right kind of environment, the right kind of energy, the right kind of state, how we can nourish and feed your brain all the right things in order for you to really maintain that mental hygiene, right? And in this video, I'm gonna take you through a little process and guide you through a practice of how to transform a negative belief. So it's not enough for us to just say, okay, just think positive, right? That thinking positive definitely has its place, and it's definitely, very powerful and very important. But for those who, may struggle with doubts or fears or limitations, or who even just have really core negative beliefs that are, underlying a lot of their actions or behaviors and habits and things like that, it's really important that, we don't kind of override that we actually address those negative core beliefs. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take you through a practice of how to identify them, how to break them down, and how to transform them to be able to program in new beliefs and mental conditioning that's going to serve you, that's going to serve your highest growth and potential, and help you to really become the person that you want to be. So, first question that we want to ask yourself is, what is the negative core belief that you wish to change, right? So this should be a pretty easy one. You should kind of be able to identify some questions that you can help to just tune into is, what do you feel is limiting? Or, what do you feel that you're not enough of? Or, what do you feel is blocking you from having or doing or being who you truly desire to be in this life, right? So once you have a core negative belief, now I'll explain. Core negative beliefs are foundational beliefs that are created at a very young age. So between the age of 0 and 7 years old, when we're children, our brain is in this theta state, right? It's a theta state of consciousness. It's super absorbent. We are picking up beliefs and ideas and, the things that we're hearing around us, the things that we're hearing our parents or our primary caregivers, or, those who are, aunties, uncles, sisters, siblings, cousins, those people who are in our life predominantly at that young age, right? We're soaking up all the information around us. And we're starting to make beliefs about ourselves, beliefs about the world, right? And how it works is that our brain goes out and then starts to search for evidence of those beliefs, right? And then those beliefs become self-fulfilling prophecies. And we start to, create and manifest into our experience based on those core negative beliefs, right? So for those of you who do my mentorship or who you do any coaching with me, you can learn more about belief systems and that in another practice, but this one I really want to just take you through the process. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is we want to try to identify what the core negative belief is, right? So often this will look like a statement such as, I am not good enough, or nobody cares about me, or I am not smart enough, or talented enough, or beautiful enough, or whatever, right? It's generally a statement that we've formed about ourselves, and this is often something that's perhaps on repeat in your brain. It comes up every time you experience a sense of doubt or fear, right? So the first thing that we want to do once we've identified it is to question ourselves as to what evidence we have. Yeah, so why do you think this is true? What experience or factors have contributed towards you deciding or coming to the conclusion that this is true, right? So start to identify it, write it down. And then what we want to ask ourselves is, are you sure this is true? Are you sure this is 100% true? Now, what our brain loves to do is our brain loves to make generalizations, okay? This is an evolutionary tool that has developed over many, many years as a way of keeping ourselves safe and protecting us, right? So our brain is receiving 7 billion pieces of information in any second, right? If we were to be able to process that at once, it would be too overloading and too overwhelming for our brains, right? So what happens is that our mind makes these huge generalizations, right? As a way of processing that information and saving time, right? But also helping us to avoid that overload. So ask yourself, is this 100% true? Most likely it's not, right? I'll give you an example. So if I have a core negative belief that nobody cares about me, hear that language? Nobody, right? We generally make these huge statements, right? Is that 100% true? No. There's plenty of examples where that is not true, right? Or if you have a core negative belief that I can't do anything right, 100% true. Is that correct? Anything? You can't do anything? Are there some things that you can do? I bet there are, right? So the next question, that question is to help you release and unpack those huge generalizations and attachments that we can make in these big, broad, sweeping statements, right? The next thing that I invite you to tune into is, how does this belief impact you, right? How does holding on to this belief impact you? So if I were to have the negative belief that I am not good enough, how would that impact me, right? Well, I wouldn't be putting myself out there for opportunities. I wouldn't be sharing my work in the world. I wouldn't be, I wouldn't feel confident about applying for jobs or, talking to new clients, right? And notice how this belief actually influences your behavior. Next question is to tune into is, who will you become in 10 years from now as a result of holding on to that belief, right? So once again, if I use this example, if the belief is, I am not good enough, right? In 10 years' time, how will that impact you? How will that, how will that shape who it is you become? You might become bitter, you might become resentful, you might become angry at the world, you might become really self-hating, self-loathing, right? It might impact your relationships, that kind of thing. The next question is, what will be the cost to you in 10 years from now if the belief is not changed, right? So this is to look at the cost, the impact that it will have, not just on who you become, as in the type of personality that you develop, but what will it cost you? How will that impact your career? How will that impact your ability to fulfill your dreams or to have relationships, right? So look at what the actual costs are going to be by holding on to that belief. The next question I invite you to tune into is, who would you become and how would you act without that belief, right? So if the belief is, I am not good enough, right? Who would you be without that? And this is often great, to think about, because it really gets us out of our ego and out of the little box of identity that we've created for ourselves, right? So without that belief, who would you be? I would be showing up in the world. I would be sharing my work. I would be marketing my programs and my classes. I'd be, putting my artistry. I'd be releasing music, or I'd finally publish my book, or, I'd have an exhibition of all my artwork. How would you act if you didn't have that core belief actually holding you back? Then what we want to do is tune into what other beliefs could be possible. Yeah, what new beliefs would feel so much better for you, right? Now, often it can feel like a big jump for us to go straight from our negative beliefs into a positive affirmation, right? So start by just asking you what would feel better, right? So, you might kind of find a bridge between that negative one and a positive one. So for example, If your negative belief is nobody cares about me, what would feel better? Well, some people care about me. Some people are really interested in my work. My clients get a lot of value out of my work. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are, listening to my music, or there's a lot of students that are coming to my classes. There's some people that really, really care. My partner really cares about me. My best friend really cares about me, right? So try to bridge that core negative belief with something that feels better. Yeah, and try to think what could actually be possible. What's something that feels like just a new possibility, right? Start to tune into that. And then what I invite you to do is to start to consciously search for evidence of why this could be true. So I just offered a few examples just then. Notice how that new belief could actually be true. Look for examples, right? So if the example was that nobody cares, look for examples of people who have cared, people who have commented on your work, people who have written you a message and let you know how much they appreciate what you do. Look back through old birthday cards, look back through, gifts that you received, evidence that shows you that perhaps there's a new possibility other than the conclusion that your mind has come to about that belief, right? Start to be a detective and gather new evidence, right? Then what I invite you to do is to create an affirmation, which is a positive statement, generally starting with the words I am, and it's generally the polar opposite of what you started with in your negative core belief, right? So I am enough. I am important. I am cared about. I care about me. I am beautiful. I am powerful. I am resilient, right? Try to find something that feels really good, right? That we're going to start to program and replace these core beliefs with, right? And then what I invite you to do is record it as a voice memo, right? Listen to it every single day, put it on repeat. You can paint it on a big canvas, write it down on lots of post-it notes and stick them all around your house, right? Find any way that you possibly can to help you anchor in this new belief, right? In order for your brain to create those new pathways, those new neural networks, we want to be able to get this on repeat. We want to program this and anchor this into your frequency as much as possible. Put it in a song, sing it to yourself every single day. In the morning when we wake up, first thing we have is affirmations blaring throughout the house, right? And remember, as we talked about in the sleep module, your brain is most susceptible and most receptive and absorbent of new information in the early morning when you're first awake, or right at nighttime, right before you enter the dream state, right? So they are the optimal times to start to really program these new beliefs in, okay? Good luck, everyone. Share below. I look forward to hearing how you go with this process. Sending you lots of love.